Hi friends! My name is Aaliyah and welcome to my channel, Aaliyah Uncharted. Today I'm going to be going over all the books I'm wanting to read in April for this round of the Magical Readathon. The Magical Readathon has been going on for years and was created and hosted by G over at Book Roast. And this round is the spring equinox. So the Magical Readathon has a long history, but G has kind of created her own fantasy world and also like magical school kind of setting for each readathon, and it's almost like a role play where you're kind of doing all the different steps to get to wherever you want to go. It's really intricate, very fun, and I'm going to put the announcement video both for this round of the readathon and just the introduction one, because again, there's a lot here and I don't have time to get into all of it. So yes, this term is the spring equinox. It is our first term at the Aurelium Academy for Magic, and we need to choose what classes we're going to take. The way we do that is by picking out our calling. What do we want our future magical career to be? And what curriculum does that require? So the calling or the career I have chosen is Master of the Elements because A, nature magic is cool. B, I would be the avatar. It was a no-brainer. So I'm very excited because not only is that a really freaking cool career, but also I really like all of the prompts that are associated with this one. So in order to move forward in this career path that I have chosen, I have to pass 6 classes or read 6 books this term in the spring for April. So all of that being said, let's just get into the classes I have to take, the challenges that are associated with them, and the books I'm going to read for each of them in order to continue with my studies. So that was a lot. Let's just get into the books. The first class on my syllabus is Animal Studies, and the challenge for this is to read a quick read. So for this, I have chosen Agatha of Little Neon by Claire Luchette. This was a gift from my dear friend Devin, and so I really wanted to read it. And also, this is my choice for the Buzzword Reading Challenge for April. The challenge this month is to read size words, so big or little in this case. So it just worked out very well. Also, it's a fairly short book. It's like 250-ish pages. So I would count that as a pretty quick read. And this is a book about a woman named Agatha. She has been a sister at a convent for the last 9 years and has been very content with living day to day with her sisters and just having that kind of routine and stuff in place. But the thing is, their parish goes bankrupt, or goes broke at least, and she has to move. She and all of her sisters have to move to this like provincial town. They take over a halfway house. Agatha has become a teacher, and it's just a total drastic change in lifestyle. So this book I know is supposed to be a lot about sisterhood and friendship, but then also figuring out where you fit in, kind of understanding your feelings and challenging the way that you always thought before, especially since Agatha lived in such a bubble before, living in a convent with her sisters and not really getting out much, to now having to reckon with the rest of the world and how different people see things. And so again, I got this as a gift from my friend who thought I would enjoy it, and so I'm really looking forward to reading this. I never heard about this until I got it from my friend, and I don't know if I ever would have, so I'm very intrigued to see how this is going to go. But again, I think it'll be a quick read, and it just sounds very intriguing. The next class I need to take is Astronomy, and the challenge for this is to read a book that is on the top of your TBR. And for this, I will be reading Blanca y Roja by A.M. McLemore. Have you seen this on several TBRs? Yes. And that is why I am using it for this prompt. It is absurd at this point. This is one of the books that I've owned the longest and not read by an author I know I enjoy. It makes no sense. So I'm putting it on yet another TBR for another readathon, and this time I have to read it. Otherwise I fail the readathon, which I don't want to do. So reading it. I've gone into the premise of this one already because it was on my TBR for March. But essentially, we've got magical realism. Blanca and Roja are sisters. Their family is cursed they're connected to this gaggle of swans that live in the forest, and so one of the two sisters are going to be cursed to turn into a swan. So a lot about sisterhood dynamics and family and love and like all of that fun stuff with A.M. McLemore's signature beautiful writing style, and I'm here for it. The next class on my list is Restoration, and the challenge for this is to read a book featuring healers. And I admit, this was so hard for me to find. This is not something that I had no books on my radar for this, no clue. I Googled so many lists. I did so much browsing on the internet to try to find something that would fit this. And I eventually landed on Witchmark by C.L. Polk. This is a historical fantasy novel that is inspired by Edwardian England. And you might think, Aaliyah, you keep saying that you don't like historical fiction. Yes, but this is historical fantasy. And so I am actually pretty stoked about this. Disclaimer, I have already started this. It's like April 4th when I am filming this right now, and so I have started it, and I'm loving it. But let's just get into the premise. Witchmark is about a man named Miles Singer, and he is a witch, but he is currently in hiding. He is disguising himself as a doctor in order to avoid being essentially enslaved by his sister Grace. So he's just trying to do his best healing people and keeping his magic on the down low. But then a man is brought to him on like his last breaths, and he tells Miles, I have been murdered. I need you to find who killed me. And then also kind of outs him as a witch, which isn't super cool. So Miles has to try to figure out who killed this man while also trying to stay in hiding, and is also working with another man named Tristan Hunter, who was like there for the whole thing. So we've got a fun like Edwardian England inspired setting. We have a murder mystery. We've got some kind of paranormal romance almost happening. There's a lot of different elements here. It's very fun. Again, I'm really enjoying it so far, and so that bodes very well for me. But again, this had never been on my radar before. I don't know how I never heard of this, but I'm really glad this readathon made me stumble across it, because I have a really good feeling that I'm going to love this and that it's going to be a new series to add to my list. The next class on my list is Shapeshifting, and the challenge for that is to read a book that has a creature that has claws on the cover. For this, I'm going to be reading Brother Song by T.J. Klune, which has actual claws on the cover. So I feel like that fits. Also, it is about shapeshifters, so it fits beautifully. This is the fourth and final book in the Green Creek series, which I've talked about a whole lot on this channel, although not for a while, because this is yet another book that has been languishing unread on my bookshelves for far too long, and it is nearly criminal. So the Green Creek series is one of my favorite series. It's gay werewolves. It's wonderful. I can't get a whole lot into the plot of this because, again, fourth and final book and spoilers, but the Green Creek series is following this pack of werewolves called the Bennett Pack. They are in Green Creek, Oregon, and a whole lot of like kind of werewolf politics going on, but then also each book has its own gay relationship kind of at the core of it, and this is Carter's book. And so I'm just very excited to get to this because, again, I wanted to read this so bad. I pre-ordered this book 2 years ago. This came out in 2020. I pre-ordered this book in 3 different formats, and I still haven't read it. It's absurd. So I'm really excited to finally get to it and to close this series out. A little bittersweet, but also I know I'm going to love it. So I'm glad I'm getting to it. Next up, I have Elemental Studies, and the challenge for this is to read a book under 100 pages. And so since I'm going to be reading Brother Song, I figured now is as good a time as any to also read Feral Song by T.J. Klune. This is a short story that takes place right before Brother Song, and it is free on TJ Klune's blog. There are actually a couple of these. There is Love Song, Feral Song, and Love Song Part 2. They are all free short stories that take place within the Green Creek universe. And I figured, why not actually clean out everything that is Green Creek. So that is what I'm choosing for this. I think Farrell's Song is on Goodreads is showing like 60-ish pages. So that works out very nicely because I had no other books that were under 100 pages anyway. Obviously, no plot can go here because this takes place right before Brother Song. So again, spoilers. But yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to it, especially just to have a full picture of what's going on and to really finish out the series. So last but not least, we have Conjuration. And the challenge for this is to read a book with a source of light on the cover. And to be honest, I don't have a singular book picked out for this. I'm kind of letting myself be flexible based on how the month is going. So depending on if I have more time for another physical book versus another audiobook, I'm just letting myself be a little flexible because there are a lot of options here. The main option for if I want another physical book is going to be White Trash Warlock by David R. Slayton. I talked about this in my 5-star predictions video, which I will link down below. And I think it's also one of my top 12 for 2022 that I want to read. So I will also put my goals video down in the description. And this is an urban fantasy, actually kind of reminiscent of Witchmark, except not historical, but also featuring a man who is a witch with a very bad relationship with his family. So we are following Adam Binder. He, again, has a very bad relationship with his family. They have shunned him and institutionalized him for his magical powers. And now he's just getting by, living in a trailer park, doing what he does. But he gets called upon by his brother, whose wife has been possessed by a vengeful spirit or something. And so Adam tries to go and fix it, and then the vengeful spirit starts setting its eyes on Adam, and things happen. That's kind of what I gather. I got this as a gift from my dear friend Mary, and it's just very high on my list because there are a lot of really great elements here, and I want to read it very badly. It has a moon on the cover. That is a source of light, even though it's green here, but I'll count it. So that's my option for a physical book. Now, if I have more time for another audiobook, I think what I'm going to be reading is The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrane. This was also one of my 5-star predictions, and this is a male-male romance that is based on a kind of bachelor setting. So we are following the romance between, I don't remember their names, but the man who's essentially the bachelor in this situation, the star of the show, and then the producer of the show, and how they fall in love. And it's just supposed to be very swoony, very lovely, touching on mental health, and just generally overall, just great. So I'm also very much looking forward to this. Obviously, there's a light source. There are spotlights happening on the cover. You can see it right there. So this is my main option for if I want audio, although that is subject to change because, again, there are a lot of options here. But that's kind of what I'm thinking because I need a whole bunch of 5-star books. That's just what I want, and that's what I need, and that's what I deserve. All right, so those are all of the books that I'm going to be reading, all the courses I need to take in order to become the Avatar, or Master of the Elements. I'm just really excited because I love the Magical Readathon. It's always so much fun. I've been participating for the last couple years, and it's also just such a great community. There is a Discord, there's a lot of activity on Twitter, it's just so much fun. And if you are at all interested, seriously check it out. But yeah, so I'm just really excited that it's April. It is time for this newest round. And it doesn't hurt that I have a lot of really good books on this list that I'm excited about. So it's just overall going to be such a good time. If you're going to be participating in the Magical Readathon, I would love to know all of the things. What your calling, what your guild, what books are you going to be reading for which courses. Hop down into the comments and talk to me about it because, again, this is just so much fun. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you want to see more from me, go ahead and hit that subscribe. But other than that, that's all I've got for you today. So thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.